Our mission, the way we think about it, is to enable career success in the digital economy through high quality transformational learning. So the easy way to think about it is that, we help people get master's level, graduate level, high quality learning in a convenient and affordable manner. We started in India in late 2013, and in 2017 we went outside of India as well. And so now we have learners from about 70 countries, paid learners, and free learners from even more. So paid learners, we have about quick snapshot about where we are today. 25,000 paid learners. We've delivered about 22 million hours of learning. Manu, I think when I sent you that bio, that was probably written about 6 months back. So the numbers have changed since then. So we've delivered about 22 million hours of learning so far. We follow a relatively high touch model of online learning. And to support that and to make that happen, we work with over 1,500 faculty and mentors. These are typically practitioner experts from the industry. We also work with about 400 corporate partners, almost all of them in India right now. Even the global companies, it's the Indian organizations. Internationally, we haven't done a whole lot on the corporate side. We are known for the quality of our education. I think our learning metrics are among the best in the world. We have a 90% plus completion rate, which for long duration work programs for working professionals, full-time working professionals, that's a very high completion rate. Our programs have been, multiple programs have been ranked #1 in their respective areas. Across all of this 22 million hours of learning, we have over a 4.5 out of 5 learner rating, where rating is taken, feedback is taken every 2 hours of learning. So that's why we have the reputation of being a high quality learning provider. And again, the real proof of the pudding is in the career transitions that the learning enables, right? And most of the learners that we have don't come to us for the love of learning, right? So they're coming for achieving progression in their career. We've had about 10,000 people finish. Another 15,000 are in progress right now. Out of those 10,000, 7,000 folks have already achieved career transitions, which also is a very, very high number, because it's these guys most of the time are achieving these transitions with some support from us, but mostly on the strength of what they are learning. We are a full stack learning provider. And what I mean by that is that like any other good institution, we have the abilities to support the entire life cycle of learning, from conceiving and creating new programs, developing the content, engaging with faculty. We have our own full-time faculty to create the curriculum and the material, to deliver it, to assess, to get projects done, practical real-world projects done, and then to support the career aspect. Right, so the entire life cycle of learning is, we have that capability, and in that sense, we are full stack. Till date, our focus has been on the areas of data, technology, and business, largely because that's where the most number of professional white-collar jobs are, and that's what we've focused on so far. So you can take a glance at the different areas. Another unique thing about us, I think, is that we are probably one of the very few players in the world that offer learning across multiple modes, which includes blended, online, and bootcamp. So different learners have different preferences of how they want to learn, and we support all of those preferences. Young learners, for example, do better in boot camps because they prefer that college kind of environment, and they need that supervision, they need that hand holding much more than the relatively older folks who prefer blended and online. So I think it's hard for me to know exactly, but we'd like to believe that we are probably the largest blended learning provider in the world right now. We have been, fortunate to have had some accomplishments. Our business analytics program has been ranked #1 in India for the last 5 years in a row. Our AI program is ranked #1 in India, both by Analytics India magazine. And last year, or rather earlier this year, we got an award for the e-learning company of the year by EdTech Review. So as I mentioned, we have paid learners from 74 countries and then free learners from 140 plus countries. The interesting thing is we have learners doing our programs from places like Sierra Leone, Afghanistan, Iraq, and we don't market in any of these places, of course, which just shows that there's a desire to learn even in the most difficult places for life. So it's actually quite inspiring to see and hear these stories and to encounter these all the time. I think that's one of the things that keeps us really going and motivated, which is the stories of learning and triumph in adversity that we hear. So many amazing stories that we come across on a regular basis that really gives us a lot of fulfillment and satisfaction. A quick financial snapshot. We are a bootstrapped company. We have not raised money, but we've been growing quite well over the last 6 years. We've had a 190% annual growth rate. Last year, we did about 325 crores. We used to say these in dollars, but given how much the rupee depreciated, it's like our revenue just went below our expectations big time. So I think last year was very good in terms of growth for us. And so, our paid enrollments have been growing substantially. The interesting thing about the COVID effect is that in the last 4 months, we have seen a 5x growth in learners. So we were tracking at around 60K in December, and right now we have more than 250K. And April's data is only till the 20th. Every day, I think, there are several thousand people that are registering. But of course, not all of them are for our PG programs, which are long duration. We've introduced a lot of shorter duration programs. Are either first-time learners, or they're still tentative and still figuring out what's the best thing for them to do. And so there's a lot of figuring out and lack of confidence. And those are the areas where we help them. So I think this is where I want to spend a little bit of time. So, what makes us different and what does it take to actually do high quality learning online? And this is what we've learned, right? So what makes us different is our learning quality and the outcomes by design. The learning process that we have developed and the methodology, it's a combination of technology, process, and people. Right? I don't believe that you can remove people out of the equation and expect to have high quality learning. Ultimately, learning is a higher order cognitive activity, and having people really helps. So what we try to do is to optimize process, technology, and people, to deliver the best outcomes. And this, we see it as 7 components that are required for high quality learning. The first, of course, is good content. That's kind of a basic minimum requirement, but good content by itself is nowhere close to being enough. And the way we deliver this is working with the best faculty and industry experts anywhere in the world. The second ingredient is structure. People are actually not very good self-learners, and if left to themselves, can very easily fall behind and lose motivation and basically get derailed. So it's very important to have a structure and schedule and so forth. So our learning experience is quite choreographed in how it's presented, and the entire journey is laid out very well. Where you stand at any given time. But of course, you have flexibility because we don't expect everybody to be available or do things at the exact time. So it's kind of macro rigidity with micro flexibility, right? So that's kind of how we think about it. So, but it's a very structured learning experience, and people greatly appreciate that. The third thing is the credibility of the learning source. Because again, this learning is a cognitive activity. Your mind needs to be open and receptive for you to actually truly learn something. And you don't get that receptivity doesn't happen if you don't trust the source of learning, which is why it's very difficult for people to learn from YouTube videos, right? Even if a video has, let's say, a very large number of hits, particularly for difficult things, for in-depth things. So the credibility matters a lot. And we address that through the academic reputation that we have garnered, as well as the partners that we work with. The other thing is to assess. People need to apply what they learn very regularly and frequently, and assessments and projects. So we do project-based learning, very experiential, which ensures that the learning actually happens. The next is personalized support. When people get stuck, they need to get unstuck. On campus, this happens by asking questions to the faculty in class, asking TAs, asking your classmates, so you get unstuck pretty quickly. Whereas online, usually that doesn't happen. And we solve that by having dedicated mentors who work with small groups of learners and get people unstuck quickly. And we have learning support personnel whose job it is to make sure that people go through in their learning journey. Peer-to-peer learning and peer accountability is also very important. We achieve that by doing small group learning. So when you do this in small groups, you become accountable to your peers, and you have the shared journey that you go through, and that makes a big difference as well. And the last thing, of course, is that you need a record of everything that you've done, of your effort, of your achievement, and that's what is encapsulated by a credential. So these, we feel, are the 7 components of high quality learning. Of course, people want career support, and that goes beyond that, but that's less related to learning and more to demonstrating that learning and getting a benefit out of it. But we feel that these are the essential components of high quality learning when it comes to higher or professional education.
Mohan, I'll have to stop you there. Thank you so much. We have a bunch of questions. Is there something else you want to say before
I'm actually done. This is my last slide.
Yes.
This is my last slide, so I'm done. I just wanted to share a few lessons. I'll just take 30 seconds. So everyone learns better when supported. We notice that employers are accepting competence as much as a credential. This wasn't the case earlier, but now it is happening. People in general are accepting that they'll have to keep learning all throughout their life. Traditional colleges and universities are recognizing and accepting the need for practical skills, for which they are now open to partner. Indian consumer, anything that is more than 15,000 does not buy by themselves. They have to be sold. They need to talk to a person. I mean, it's different if it's a commodity like a smartphone or a laptop, that's a branded commodity, but otherwise they need to be sold. They need to talk to people. And as far as COVID is concerned, of course, we all know this, there's acceleration of technology adoption by otherwise resisting stakeholders. I believe that after this, hybrid learning will become mainstream, even on campuses. High-priced higher education will get questioned. It will get pushed back. I think only the top tier institutions will get away with it. Everybody else will be forced to bring down their pricing. And then this will cause pressure on academic institutions to become more efficient. So those are, I think, the key learnings, and that's it from my side. I'm happy to take a few questions if there is still time. Manu, can I take a couple of questions?
Thank you so much, Mohan. That was incredible. I think we'll do 2 minutes of questions. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, so I'll just quickly take a couple of questions.
Can you see the question in the chat, Mohan?
Yes, I can. So let me answer them quickly. So we make sure, so the question is about outcomes in offline versus online model. And for us, the benchmarks of outcomes are exactly the same. So whether it happens in the classroom or in online, we aim for the same outcomes, and our processes and everything that we do are geared towards that. So how do we test and metricize performance? As I mentioned, it's a combination of formative and summative assessments. Some things that test your understanding and some things that get you to apply with every module. So that's part of the highly structured experience that we go through. How many free learners do you have? Well, now we have, hundreds of thousands of free learners, and that number is growing very fast. And then, we have about 25,000 learners for our PG programs. These are long duration, rigorous programs. And then another 35 or 40,000 now for our short duration programs. And then I think about another 250,000 free learners. What is the impact of COVID on paid enrollments? Question from Ankush. So what we are seeing is that people are taking more time to make decisions. given the times that people were taking earlier to now, they're taking more time to make decisions. So decision making has gotten delayed. People are still taking decisions, but with more delay. Do you track learners' growth post the program? Absolutely. So we actually track people's progress we have an integration with LinkedIn. So every time they update their LinkedIn profile, we get to know about it. So we absolutely track it. And that's how I've reported the learning transitions or the career transitions.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I think please take one more question. That's okay.
Sorry, I took out the screen. What is usually the stickiness of these free learners to convert to paid?
I think
guys, I'm happy to answer questions offline as well. My email ID is mohan@greatlearning.in. Please feel free to write. I'm on WhatsApp as well, so happy to take any questions offline as well.